Now it's 8 o'clock. Michael, do you want to start with the questions from your last session that may have not been answered?
Yeah, let's see. Does tenant isolation hit logic gaps? I was just looking at the link that Power Admin shared, block access to and from other tenants in logic apps. So blocking, there's a policy you can create in Azure that works for the logic apps. Same idea, different menu. So no, the tenant isolation in Power Platform does not include or hit logic apps as well, but you have to create a different policy in Azure. And the link to the Microsoft Learn and the documentation is in the chat from Power Admin. That's very good. That is something that I need to look into as well. But then again, the answer is already there. Then I have something, there's a PowerShell script to disable, to share with everyone. And that's good as well. That is what I was talking about in my slides for the tenant settings. And I provided the links in my slide as well. I didn't present them in the session, but I have it in there. But this is basically the same thing. That is very good. I'm just going through the comments now, not only the questions. But then I see the green role assignment icon that I showed on the North Bar architecture for environments is for Entra security roles, not about Dataverse security roles. And that's an interesting thing that I didn't know. I thought that was for Dataverse security roles, but obviously is not, which is good. Entra security roles work even in the default environment. Dataverse security roles don't work in the default environment. Unless if you use the API call, then it kind of works. But as soon as Microsoft resets the default environment, which they tend to do every 3 to 4 weeks or something, there's no regular schedule to this. Yeah. Yeah, then I see the comment. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Just for the security roles in Azure, which security roles are relevant here? So like environment maker and yeah.
But that actually are Dataverse security roles. And I'm not too familiar with Entra security roles, if they are different, and if so, how.
Okay.
I have to look into that because I come from the Power Platform and I'm not too familiar with Azure. That's going to change in the near future, hopefully. Fingers crossed, if I have time.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not sure. But by per default, every Entra ID account has the maker role in the default environment. And you can't get rid of it. And you can't even customize that role in the default environment. It just doesn't work. Sorry?
If I remember correctly, and Michael, I think we both joined a session last year in June. I think it was at EPPC. Normally with the default environment, I don't think that Dataverse is in the default environment activated. And we were in a session where this was where this was discussed, maybe activating Dataverse with the default environment, and then you have more options to remove the roles, the security roles, and to block it. But there is a downside because some Microsoft services will use the default environment, and then you will have limitations there. So both ways have downside.
Yeah, this is MS Project uses Dataverse in the default environment. There are all the approval flows and something else, which I can't remember right now. They use Dataverse anyway, and that is the reason why you can't block the Dataverse connector in the at all. You can't block it in the default environment. You can. So basically, as of now, Dataverse is active in the default environment, but not as a Dataverse accessible to the user, but only to the in the backend somehow, because those services use or utilize the Dataverse entries. You can switch it off through the API, but that makes more trouble than really solves anything.
But I think one of you wanted to answer another question when I mentioned it. So I think, Michael, you were going to answer something or say something?
I think I was just going through the comments and I saw the question, is there a way to block all users to actually use Power Platform? Which I already kind of answered, no, not really. But I like the idea behind it. So I would like to block kind of all users in the default environment, then give a guided process how to get into Power Platform, give them an environment where to start learning and testing things out, and then give them access to the productive environment, for example. This is really tricky because it's almost impossible to block all users from the default environment. They can do things in there, which is nice, but then it's kind of difficult, let's say, when you end up having Power Automate artifacts in the default environment, which are actually important or even business critical. So the best way actually to deal with that is to make it as restricted as possible and then monitor the whole environment to just get a notification as soon as something is developed in default to rather notify the administrator or the maker themselves to tell them, thanks for your effort. Cool that you're doing things, but please do it in a different environment and move it over. That's the thing that I started to answer. Yeah, and there's this idea, can we remove the environment maker security role from default environment? And we can't remove it and we can't even customize it. And I'm still looking for this blog post that I found once where you actually can customize the security roles even in default environment. But then again, as soon as Microsoft resets the default environment, the regular roles and regulations are still back online. I will include this in my slides as soon as I find it.
I think the last question by Jeffrey Oswald is also going your direction, Michael. How can we configure access within an environment with Center of Excellence installed in it such that users from other different environments only see the resources that are meant for them? For example, users from environment X only see the Center of Expertise resources or data associated with them within the general Center of environment where it is installed, and the same for users from another environment, Epsilon, etc.
Yeah, that depends on what resources we are talking about. In the COE starter kit, there are a few apps that are aimed at makers and users. For example, the Developer Compliance Center, for example, where when a user creates an application, is supposed to hit the Developer Compliance Center to provide business justification and basically basic documentation around the app. So this way, the user needs access to those resources. And then we would give those users the basic user role in the COE or Center of Excellence Starter Kit environment and share only those apps with those users. But actually, from my experience, I've never seen any organization that actually did that. Most of them, or all of them, install the COE Starter Kit in an admin-only environment and use it there. And since those applications in the COE require a premium license, most of them rebuild those applications on a SharePoint basis, so that even users with just a seeded license, with an M365 license, can use this application. So what I usually see is people rebuilding those applications from the COE, which makes a lot of sense from my point of view. But don't tell Microsoft I said this.
So
yes,
that,
then we have
that means sorry. That means so the COE generally it does not have data from other environments. It's only in this admin prod you mentioned, for example, in your slides. You would need to do this on an owner level in that case. That maybe you have teams for an environment or something like this. that owns the records?
Not really. The COE includes Dataverse tables that gather information from every environment in the whole tenant that you have.
Okay.
It's all there. And if you want to make this data accessible to users, they will somehow need to access this table, and then therefore they need access to the environment where the COE is installed. Then you have to check what kind of data they are supposed to see, and then you have to work with the Dataverse security roles and ownership, for example. Role level security works, something like this. Yeah. But then again, most time I see the COE, most admins use just the data in Dataverse, the tables, and build applications themselves on basis of this data, and that share this application or this whatever they build, flow or whatever, with the users.
Okay. Any other questions? Buelent, maybe from your side, you have your video on, so maybe you have a question as well.
Not really a question,
Okay.
just a big thank you. But I don't know if that's time already for being thank you, but I would let others also, if there's still some questions, obviously, then they should ask them. But I think that was a very great initiative. I mean, we have started from 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been at 8 o'clock in the morning already, so I bought a little bit in the afternoon. So family activities, but then just returned back and just want to say that was really some awesome sessions. So the whole organization of this, getting all the MVPs into that call, sharing all the information. For me as a visitor, that was really great. Next time, maybe I just contribute if the time is a little bit better as this time. But it was really great to watch. There was some really good insights that even I didn't know. So that was really great.
And thank you very much. Really appreciate feedback. So questions from the other participants in the call. It's a small round. It's late.
Otherwise, I will ask.
Yeah.
I will.
Complicated questions.
Yeah, complicated question. No, I just stumbled across a few days ago when I searched for duplicate detection, and for me, duplicate detection is the thing that you have in the data management, and then you have duplicate detection rules where you can say, okay, duplicate of a entity is when field X and field Y and field Z are the same. And now I just stumbled across the article. There's a new duplicate detection that you can find in the app settings of the Sales Hub, and yeah, and you shouldn't activate the standard duplicate detection and this duplicate detection. And I was just thinking, okay, has anybody used it? Is it better? I mean, you cannot change the rules here. Why would you use it if you can't change them?
So from my, I haven't used it in any project. So I played around with it when it came initially to the Power Platform or to Dataverse. I think it's only available if you have the sales license, because it's only focusing on the lead table, so you cannot configure it. And that's really also the point that I mentioned before when we had the session about AI Builder. It's a black box. So it's written here. It has some duplicate rules, but you cannot reframe the rules. It's just doing what is written there, looking for same email address, same phone number, and give you suggestions. But you are not able to say, I want to adjust it. And that's why I didn't play around more with it, because it was not fulfilling my requirements, because I want to have the possibility to specify what I will be looking for. I don't want it only on the lead table. I want to have it on maybe on the contact table. So especially, for example, if you're working with a marketing solution, yes, it's supporting now leads, but initially it was only creating contacts, and you were working with contacts. So you're very limited in this topic. So I think there are other options at the moment that make more sense, that are coming with a sales license, which you have to activate in the Power Platform Admin Center. Like, for example, check if an email is really existing. So it also only works on the contact and lead table and the account table, I think. But there, for example, there's already a check if the domain of the email, for example, is existing. So there are some more detailed options with the email verification. Yeah, this one, which is also still in preview, but which makes more sense from my point of view than this black box of lead duplicate detection. And
Yeah,
in addition, based on how Microsoft is working with leads in the past, it also makes no sense for me, because leads was kind of always, I can create lead duplicates for a person, for example. So if I'm going to a fair and I collect leads, then the same person can come to each fair and have a different topic that they are talking about. And you will create opportunities afterwards when you qualify the lead. And then through the qualification process, a new opportunity is created for the same account and contact. So duplicate detection on a lead record for email address and phone number does not make any sense for me, because it's a topic.
Yeah, but I thought in this case, because if you have really a duplicate, you get this every time you save, right? This is why you usually apply really hard duplicate rules. But here there was the possibility to detach, and that's what I found interesting, right? That you can opt out a lead of being detected, and I thought, wow, that's cool. But yeah, with the rules and stuff that are not changeable, I think it's not feasible right now. Yeah, thanks.
If I chain in here, first of all, the thing, Marius, you just have showed previously, this exists since ever I've started with CRM 2011, and I think also before. That's all duplicate detection. That was never working reliable in all the projects I've used. So where is the sense if you just detect something and you allow the people still that they can override that? So you couldn't stop that. You override that. So if someone is just not looking and clicking as a client all the time, then you had a duplicate in the system. Bad. So problem, I would say. That does not really prevent that you're just creating that. The new one, I also have discovered that in the past days, because I've just worked with a dynamic C65 sales tool for working with Copilot for sales. That's why it also came to my mind. I think it is a way of simplifying the things more. So because all duplicate detection rules are complicated for people, for normal users. So you can learn that and work that, but it's not that simple as it sounds. This here is just you turn it on and that's it. Let the system make the magic. So that's why you don't have so many rules to configure. It is very basic. The thing which just comes to my mind is if maybe with that approach, it's not possible anymore to ignore the warning. So it really prevents. So that's something, to be fair, to be tested out if this is somehow happening. I would still say if you want to have implemented a very good duplication system, I would not go with the standard, only if the client does not have the money. I would really recommend that you're just using some development in the background to make it correctly. So these things with the duplicate detection things exist since ever in the system, haven't been touched by Microsoft for years. And now they come with that approach. I mean, if it's going the Power Platform easy way, you know, they're trying to simplify things, and that seems like simplification for the client. But it really stands and falls with the requirements of the client. If clients come up and say, I do have that specific requirement, then boom, that thing out of the box does not work anymore. So either you just go back to the old application section rules and settings, or you just really implement something new. The thing is that it will cost money, and you are the responsible person for the maintenance if it doesn't work, And the client mostly are not willing to spend additional money if out of the box functionality exists, but just have to be explained, to the client. But I hated that during my time. I had a lot of discussions about, oh no, our data is more secure, we don't have duplication, but bad. No, you don't have it. So simple as that. But I'm happy I don't have that kind of client discussions anymore, because that was more one of the annoying topics with duplicate detection. Hopefully that helps. I don't think that this will getting better, because this is not just a dynamics problem. This is an overall problem with all the systems. So how can I have a fantastic database with, no duplications and so on? It will always happen. And that already have been said in one of the previous statements. I think it was Michael. You just have to train key users on that, how to use it. Otherwise, it will not work. There's no system in the world which just is making everything for you. That's not possible. And the client must understand this. So if you give people power to control data, human mistakes can every time happen. Simple fact.
Yeah. You said that it sounded like the Apple way. Use it or don't use it. There is no configuration. Here it seems like they are making it even softer than you have this pop-up and you just click in your and save because you're used to it. They are only showing a yellow warning here in the bar, so you can ignore it even better in the future.
It's one of the most difficult topics I just had in my 10 years in the field, with discussing about clients about that. It's simply a fact. So clients, of course, want to have the perfect system. And it starts with a simple thing like now going into marketing. If you just, subscribe to a newsletter. So how to prevent that you're using a false email address. So if you're just putting that and give people already that chance, then already, the database is infected with dead corpse. You can prevent that by sending newsletters out and find out if you have a soft bounce or a hard bounce and so on, and then you can just find that out and then put out that one lead contact. But there was also that statement by Joergen as well, that with leads doesn't make any sense, because the lead management is usually to find out if people are really interested in products. So that's a lead functionality. So it's not like I'm creating a lead and then I just qualify that to a contact and that's it. A lead is always like to find out if an already existing contact is still interested in newer products. Bam. So, and if you just say, hey, that email address exists already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is nonsense. Can I say this word? It doesn't make any sense. So I say, okay, it's allowed. Good. Oh, I like that. It's nonsense. So that's why I would not trust that one. I don't even see that this will fly. Maybe you're right. It's Apple way, or more the Power Platform way to simplify things, or the Copilot way, right? Because Copilot will do all the work for us in the future, and we don't do anything anymore. So, but good that you have discovered that. Good that we have talked about that. I would not trust that this will be the next big thing.
There's another question. I don't want to disrupt this discussion, but the next question is, what is your experience of the Power Apps per app licenses? Are you able to manage them? Do you think they might get deprecated?
Who wants to answer?
Sorry?
You?
Who wants to answer?
I don't like questions regarding licenses, because you can only go wrong. No,
yes, no one likes those questions.
Yeah. So
no,
if they will get deprecated, I don't know. the only use case I personally would see is if you are a really small company and wants to start experience looking at Power Apps and you don't know what you can do with it, and so an initial setup, because once you are working with a Power Platform, you will very easily reach the limits that are provided with the Power Apps. Or maybe it's a use case if you have external, so as a big company, you have external users that you want to allow specific apps they have to use with. But as soon as you have your own users in the tenant, you will have not only one app or one Power Page or something like this with the limitations. You will have more applications sooner or later. So I would go with the Power Apps per user license.
Yeah. There are a couple of more use cases that I've seen. I've seen a pretty neat year-end report app where people from a business business unit needs to do a yearly report, and they need this app once a year. So it doesn't make sense to give them like a whole year license if they just use it once a year. So that makes kind of sense. Yes, I see the Buelent just posted the blog post from Yuka Niran in the chat, and this is a really, really nice blog. I like his work so much. You can manage the app licenses in the Power Platform Admin Center. It's under resources and capacity. That's where you expect licenses, obviously. And you can allocate them to separate environments. That is how it works. And you can manage who is able to allocate those licenses. Only admins or every user. Per default, it's every user, of course. But then only Power Platform and sysadmins can allocate those licenses to an environment. Now, the problem is, if you allocate those per app licenses to an environment and the user goes in this environment and uses the per app license and then he leaves again, the license does not, I'm not sure what happens with this license, and because I hardly work with it. And Microsoft haven't said anything about deprecating per app licenses, but the way they treat it and the way you can see it in the licensing the licensing report, they don't mention it too often now, and I think it's just a matter of time when it gets deprecated, actually, because they are pushing so hard for all the other premium licenses recently. I don't think they have a great future, but we will see. Maybe they will announce something on the side. If there is no too hard NDA, maybe you can share my information.
Does this answer help you, Johan?
Yes, definitely it helps me. My confusion will go on, I think, for a while, a bit more.
Okay.
It's a hard topic to get into.
Yeah. Maybe as it was mentioned, so I don't see any new questions at the moment from the chat, so please raise your hand. But I'm not sure, Buelent, if you said it or who said it with the next big thing, that you don't see it with the topic before. The next big thing for me, which has been announced or is in preview at the moment, is limit unmanaged solutions in environments. So this is really something that is coming to the platform, which will affect Dynamics 365 and also the Power Platform with staging environments. So when this is enabled, you can define environments where you don't want to allow to do any unmanaged work in this environment. So it's only allowed to go managed. And this is something, especially from a Dynamics world, I would say lots of projects in the past have still gone unmanaged through different environments. And if this will become an option, then you really have to choose to going managed. And especially in the Power Platform world, where you have maybe not the awareness what it means to go unmanaged in an environment or make changes in a production environment, you can limit the possibilities to make changes in environments above the dev environment.
Let's just hope it does not break your environment by you can't activate any flows anymore because you cannot unmanaged change the connection references or something like this.
That's really a topic. So at the moment, I wouldn't say so. It's still in preview, and I'm not sure it's there for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Not so long ago. So there are still some open topics, and I'm with you. There are at the moment situations where you need to change in each environment something in your solution, like connection references. So there must be a way to move forward with your solutions and make changes, or it should be work smoother in the future. But I think the way forward is now very clear what Microsoft wants to do.
But it's clear since, I would say, 3-4 years already, right? So
yeah,
the fun part is when we do internal training at our company, that when I start this discussion on our new joiners, obviously they have no idea. But I say, if you want to make fun, just go into one of the Teams channels and say, oh, I like managed solutions. And then you will anytime find someone just rush in and say, no, unmanaged solution is the best. And then, some kind of, it's like, some kind of war. Either you like Apple, you like Microsoft, you like Sony, or you just like Microsoft, or all that kind. You like BMW, or you just like other brands, right? So the thing is that, that doesn't surprise at least me, because Microsoft just saying all the time, managed solution is the best. And with managed environments, they're just pushing. You can only use managed environments with managed solutions, and this will come, right? If your project is still running on unmanaged solutions, then it's really up to time that you just talk with the client about. This will also put additional costs, obviously, just to manage everything and just set everything up. I would say, depending on which company you are, we have collected our experiences, how we can, or best practices, maybe an idea for any of the MVPs out there, best practices, managed solutions, to transit from unmanaged to managed. Maybe that will be also a very interesting topic as well. But I know from the beginning, when we have just used it in one of the first projects I was with managed solution, it was really a pain. And let me say, just in statistic words, that the efficiency of the work dropped from 90% to 20%, because we had only a problem with that. So we couldn't really publish anything. We had so many problems with that. So we have mastered that, but with a lot of being punched in the face. It is like this. So I think that managed solution, that's Microsoft way of, maybe they have also statistics in the background, how many people opening tickets because they have unpublished something into a production environment which haven't been published. How can I make it undo? And that's not really possible with unmanaged solutions. That could also be a use case as well. So they do have the statistics, I'm pretty sure, in the tickets, and they're going this way. It will not be an easy transition. So there will be, let's say, once this is mandatory and not allowed with unmanaged solutions anymore, this will be some troubles in the first months, but that's the future. So.
Okay. I think Johan raised his hand, so maybe he wanted to add something.
Buelent, if you would guess, how far away is the D-Day when this would happen, that Microsoft enforces managed solutions?
So I can tell you, in contrary to other companies like Apple, Microsoft is not, cutting, everything, if there's a lot of shitstorm going on, so they just give you some time for the transition time. So this is fair. So you will get, I would say, even I don't have any insights, so I have no MVP contacts or NDE stuff. That's just my speculation. This before we completely transition 100%, this will take years.
No worries. So being the part of the Microsoft, I know we deployed the unmanaged solution on the production for the customers. So yeah, there is a recommendation, but then there is a lot of if and buts that, okay, like you can easily see, there's a two groups. One is fighting with others. Okay, one say managed solution because of this. Second one says unmanaged because of this. And then you have a single argument point to win. Okay, Microsoft recommend that you should go with the managed solution on the production. But that is a recommendation. So that is a recommendation, but that is not a, kind of the single rule that, okay, we have to go with the managed solution every time. So
but that's why I said the D-Day is very far away. So exactly. They will just not do it. I'm not, so we talk about that. So I just give numbers. I'm very sure in 3 years we will still have unmanaged solutions. So I'm pretty sure. Just as a guess, because still till today, they just haven't transitioned everything I'm talking from 2018 in the Power Platform Admin Center to configure everything there. You still need to go to old environments to do some specific configurations. And this is now 6 years old. And the unmanaged solution stuff, you will break a lot of projects, that with the consequence that the clients will be upset and can say at the end, we don't want to have Microsoft products anymore. That would be a damage to their reputation. And I don't think this will happen. So we will still have unmanaged solutions, but Microsoft is step by step, telling you, everything.
We also still have workflows. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know why we have workflows?
They're not deprecated yet. So
yes.
Shall I tell you why? So again, my personal opinion, because Power Automate flows are asynchronous.
Yeah, but there's a Dataverse accelerator is now coming as a synchronous alternative. So I'm partially with you. So we will have time to where we still have unmanaged solutions, especially as you mentioned, there are projects still out there. And I was thinking about bringing this topic up or not, because I know there might be some controversy. But what I can think about is that Microsoft may limit usage of unmanaged solutions in new environments, new projects that are coming in the future, so that they will have a two-step approach, like leaving existing organizations with unmanaged environments and have their period over a longer time. And in the next, you said 3 years, something like this, around about 3 to 5 years or something, limited for new projects and not allow it to go managed to with new projects. That would be my assumption how this will go forward.
Yes, I agree on that.
Especially, so I have to say I started when it was always unmanaged 14 years ago. And then I did some managed projects, and it was really an awful experience. But I would say like 4 years ago, Microsoft started to bring in a lot of effort in topics around managed solutions. And I also agree with Ambesh, who said when he worked with Microsoft in the past, Microsoft themselves were deploying unmanaged. But I would say this has also changed. So inside of Microsoft now, it's clearly an understanding going managed. So they also see the improvement that has been done to managed solutions, and maybe also the risk coming with all the Power Platform development by not pro-code developers, but
Yeah.
citizen developers, low-code developers making changes in production environments. So I think this is a part of this process, because we are not only talking about Dynamics 365 projects anymore, where you normally had a partner doing the work in a dev environment and then having the transition to the other stages. But now you have lots of citizen developers in your organization, and this might be a bigger risk with changes in the production application, production flow. So to limit this experience with breaking something in production from this point of view. So this is what I would expect, my personal opinion. So okay,
I don't see
again
any problem in that. In beginning of 2027, we will have unmanaged solutions. I'm pretty sure.
But I would let's challenge it, like you will not allowed to have unmanaged solutions in new projects.
Maybe this will work also. I've seen that in the SharePoint. So they switched for apps that you had those SharePoint app only access, and now it's AD app only access, and they changed it to not break any existing functionality, only for new SharePoints, and for older SharePoint it stayed that way, and you had a setting, right, that you could switch, and for old tenants they are still allowed, and for any new site it's not allowed. And yeah, that's the correct way, because you can still enable it if you are creating a new environment in an old tenant which works on a solution that needs this.
I think there was just like SharePoint workflows or something, an announcement that it will be not allowed to create them in new environments beginning next year or something, but existing ones will still work. So, I'm not into SharePoint, so I think I have read something like this, but not 100% sure. But I totally agree. There is already this kind of workflow. Change something for new customers and leave existing customers with the way they're working for a longer time. Ambesh, you raised your hand. I cannot hear you. You are not.
We hear something, but it's always a little crack only.
Yeah, man, I
No.
wish I would be good in lip reading.
Yes,
right?
now.
But, no.
Okay, so I think the headphones gave up. They said, okay, enough is enough. Like, this probably would be the longest time you are using me. Okay, I thought maybe to just share one thing interesting which I found recently while working on the Power Pages, and for that I would just quickly share my screen. Might be interesting for Michael as well. Let me just share my screen. Give me a sign once it is visible.
Sign.
Okay, thank you. So I have a Power Pages, the complete list here, and I see the governance control here, the new button, which was not there earlier. I found it very recently. I found, in the MS documentation, and it is right now in the preview. What I could do here, directly from here itself, I could decide from the administration perspective, do I need to disable the anonymous mode for none of the site, a specific site, all the site except the specific site and all the site, which is really a great tool or great way to block, all the makers from the site specific. Instead of site specific, they could control it from here
itself. So if I just said, okay, I want to maybe I want to make it for all the site except this particular site, I could just do it simply and just save it. And then it will make a direct impact on the Power Pages Studio itself. And I cannot make the site actually enable for the animals mode. So I found like it's really a great control. I don't know what Microsoft is going to provide more into the governance control here at a single step solution. I would be more than happy like if I could control more and more available site in my environment or the tenant via just one single, at a single location or the single point here. Could be an interesting way. Second thing, maybe that is continuous of our Power Pages tip and tricks, Marius, because I got a kind of the comment there. You mentioned is that, okay, how to upgrade or how to upgrade your site from the basically Bootstrap 3 to the Bootstrap 5. But as a user, how would I know or from where I can check that my site built on the Bootstrap 3, Bootstrap 4, Bootstrap 5, where I can go? Because if I could go to the, basically I could just quickly go through here. If I go to the environment, I could only see from the environment that, okay, this particular environment, let's say here, and then, there we can go to the resources and the Power Pages side. I can only enable and disable the Bootstrap 5 here, but there is no single that what site is available on the Bootstrap 3 or the 5 itself. Although from the documentation, yes, there is a kind of, I would say it is still in the progress, like some specific templates are available in the 3, some is already part of the Bootstrap 5, like based on the enhanced data model. The easy way to see here, which I just found it, like if I have the site open, the simplest way we can look to the page. There are a couple of ways, so maybe let me just try the easiest way. You just go look to the page source, and in the page source, you just search for the Bootstrap, open the Bootstrap file, and here you see, okay, it is built on the Bootstrap 5 or Bootstrap 3. Okay. Like a very simple way. You don't need admin skills, you don't need any kind of the privileges, you don't need to be a developer or so on. It's a simple solution. The second way is here, simply, I could go to the inspect. In the inspect, I could go to the sources. I could find the Bootstrap file here. And in the Bootstrap file here, I can just simply see on the top of that, okay, what is basically the version for the Bootstrap.
That's basically the same file. Yeah.
Yeah, it's reflecting the same one. And this is basically a bit more going towards the developer tool. Because now might be you need a bit of the the technical or the development skills there. The third one probably would be more tricky. You just simply go to the to the network, preserve the log. You just look for the CSS, refresh the page, and then in that particular case, you can just look it from there. I would just wait all of the files to be loaded here. Okay.
You might need to disable caching.
Yeah. And then empty. Okay.
And I think you disabled network logs.
Yep. Yeah. I just enable, use my, and here I can see, okay, there's a Bootstrap minified version for the CSS file. Simply go to the preview, go to the top, and more or less I can just see, the same thing here. What version of the Bootstrap is there? But here you can simply see this is basically the starter template right now. In the starter template, I can see the Bootstrap version 5. But at the same time, if I just probably go to my other pages, maybe example, customer self-service, just let's say. So if I'm on the customer self-service, because customer self-service, these are basically based on, kind of the Dynamic 365 templates. And here, if I just go and search, it should be on the Bootstrap 3 dot something. So it's a Bootstrap 3 dot something. Here we can easily identify it. But yeah, that was kind of the short tip right now from my side. And that was basically like I could just make a separate video for that one, because that could be the continuation of our Power Pages tip and tricks phrase. But this is, I found like the two things which I thought maybe to just share with the larger group.
I just want to mention the moment you said governance controls, it was like Michael leaning in. Oh, there's governance now.
What can I say? I love rules and regulations. But yes, I have to look deeper into that as well. Sounds pretty good, or at least better.
Okay, so I think we are almost hitting the last minutes for the long sharing since morning. Feel free, like if anybody would like to add something.
Yeah. Any questions from the audience?
But you still look on cam. What is a secret? Who is looking on the cam? Sorry?
So
You
let me
look
just
good on
rephrase, right? Especially Joergen and you, you are active since 8 o'clock in the morning. You're still smiling. So what's your secret? What kind of drugs you're taking?
Oh, platform.
From the secret perspective, I could simply mention, like, I was totally mind blowing right now. Every session have a different takeaway from there. Lot of things which eventually, to be very honest, I wasn't aware about that one. Okay, that could be the prospect from the business perspective, from the technical skills perspective, or the product itself. So now I could say it's really hard for me to digest everything, whatever I'm just getting since morning. I definitely, I'm sure, not sure about the others, but I need to definitely re-go with all of the recordings again. I have to anyhow go for the sanity check before publishing it, but I have to really play, pause, and then probably at some point of time I have to do the practical implementation also, especially the things around the AI, things around the the Copilot, all the things, because that was really a different dimension which I could think about, that like, okay, yeah, this way it could be implemented as well, right? But I'm not sure about Joergen's energy, so I don't know, to be very honest.
It's similar. So as you said, each hour was a new topic or a new point of view, and yeah, I would say I really like these kind of community events. So it's something very, for me personally, it's something very specific to the Dynamics 365 customer engagement and Power Platform communities. These kind of sharing, interacting with each other, having these kind of discussions. This is something that I don't know from any other kind of business communities, or not in this amount as we have it here in this round. And I think this is one part for me where I get energy from, with on-site or online events.
Sure.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you had now lots of other global Power Platform sessions, events online. So I know some people who have jumped between different sessions, or being yesterday on site in one event and today in virtual events. So these have been 2 days fully packed with different events. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining, and I think we'll come to an end right now.
Yeah, I would mention, like, if somebody probably have not give a feedback, please do so. It is really important, like, for everyone, for the speakers, for the organizers, and even I think I would appreciate the speakers also to provide the feedback about their experience. And definitely, because personally I have a lot of learning from the organization perspective. I simply have the learning. I would share it in our retrospection with the other like the co-organizers. But yeah, you are the audience. You are the king. So whatever you feel, please let us know, and we will really improve in our future events. Those things.